If I had to start my business over today, I wouldn't waste a single day on the things that almost destroyed me the first time. I wouldn't chase every opportunity that looked shiny. I wouldn't say yes to every client just because I needed the money. And I definitely wouldn't grind myself into the ground thinking that's what faithfulness looks like. Because here's what I know now that I didn't know then. The difference between a business that drains you and a business that fulfills you isn't how hard you work. It's what you do consistently every single day. So the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact 4 daily non-negotiables I'd follow if I was starting my business from scratch today. These aren't motivational fluff. These are the rhythms that create momentum, peace, and profit from one day. And I promise you this, these aren't what you're going to hear from the gurus out there. It's much, much different. My name is Kyle White. I've owned over 100 properties. I've built and scaled a successful real estate business. And I've led over 1,000 coaching sessions with entrepreneurs just like you to help them grow with clarity and peace in their business and in their life. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Your daily habits will either build your business or they will bury you under it. So let's dive into this right now. The first non-negotiable is start with the word, not with the work. Here's what most of us do. We wake up, we grab our phones, we check our emails, we scan social media, and before we even started our day, we're already reacting to everybody else's agenda. We dive straight into the work. And by the end of the day, we're exhausted, we're anxious, and we're wondering why we feel so far from God, even though we've been working with Him or for Him the entire time. Here's why that doesn't work. When you start with the work, you're building on your own strength, and your own strength is going to run out. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says it like this. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Notice it says this, in all your ways. That includes your business. That includes your Monday morning. That includes the decisions that you're stressed about right this second. Because here's the thing. You can't submit what you haven't surrendered, and you can't hear God's direction if you never created space to listen to it. Think of it like this. You wouldn't drive across the country without a map, but every day entrepreneurs fire up their businesses without consulting the one who actually knows the way, and you have the power to reach Him. So here's what I do now and what I actually do now every single day in my business. I spend at least 15 minutes in the Word before I open my laptop. It's not a full sermon. It might be just one chapter. I might be sitting on one verse even for a while. I might be listening to a short podcast, a Christian podcast. But it's one truth that is going to anchor my day. And then what I do is I pray specifically about my business. I ask God a question, something like, what do you want me to focus on today? I'll ask Him, please lead me in my business today. Give me direction. No matter where I go, please direct me. And then what I do is I write down what I need to be focused on. I build a list of what I need to be focusing on for that day based on what I feel like God has told me. When you start your day with the Word, you're not just working harder, you're working with divine clarity. And I recently just turned down an opportunity because I heard clearly God saying to me to put the brakes on it. And this small change of just listening to God every single morning changes everything, and it has for me. Now, really quick, if you're loving this and you want to go even deeper, I've got a free resource for you. It's called the 12 Laws of Faith-Driven Success. It's a step-by-step guide to growing a business and a life that honors God and that actually works. It's very simple to follow. It's really nice looking. Grab a copy of it. I'll put a link in the description. Let's keep jumping into this now. So the second non-negotiable is you got to build one system before you build anything else. And a lot of you are going to be fighting this along the way. And that's completely normal if you feel that way. But I promise you, it'll help you grow by leaps and bounds if you take this minor step back in your business. Because here's the trap that most entrepreneurs fall into. They chase revenue without infrastructure. And what that looks like is they land a client, they land a deal, they land an opportunity. They scramble to deliver, then they land another client, and they scramble again. And before long, they're drowning in the chaos because there's no processes, no templates, no clarity, no systems. It's just hustle and hope. And eventually, that's going to break you. It's going to catch up to you, and you may lose clients and opportunities because of it. And I see this happen all the time because owners who are working 60-hour weeks but can't take a day off because everything depends on them. They built a job, but they have not built a business. And the cost is burnout. It's resentment. And it's a business that owns you instead of serving you. What you thought you were going to love, you now start to hate. Because here's what the Bible shows us. God is a God of order. Look at Nehemiah. When he's rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, he didn't just show up and start stacking stones. He surveyed the damage. He organized the people. He assigned sections. He built with a plan. Nehemiah 4:6 says it like this. So we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all their heart. Notice they worked with their heart, but they also worked with a system. And that's the combination. Passion plus the process. Do not forget the process. Because here's the thing about systems. They don't just organize your tasks. They protect your time. Because without a system for your time, you're just reacting all day long. Every email is urgent. Every phone call is a fire. And every notification is going to pull you off course. And that's why time blocking is one of the most powerful systems you can build from day one. Time blocking means you decide in advance what you're working on and when. You're not hoping to find time for the important work. You're assigning it to a slot and protecting it like it's sacred, because it is. Think about like building a house. You don't pour concrete randomly and hope it turns into a foundation. You frame it first. You create boundaries. You build with intention. Your calendar is the exact same way. If I was starting today all over again, here's what I do to block my calendar off. In the morning, I would do a deep work-only dive. It's the first 2 to 3 hours for the work that actually moves the business forward. Writing, creating, building, no meetings, no emails, no distractions. I'm focusing on CEO time, the things that are going to make me the most money and make me the most productive. In the middle of the day, that's when I focus on communication and connection. This is when I take calls, answer emails, engage with clients. I batch it into one block so it doesn't bleed into everything else. I'm not checking my email 24/7. I don't have every ping on my phone notifying me. In the afternoon, I build systems and admin time. It's for invoicing, follow-ups, process, improvements. It's the behind the scenes work that keeps things running smoothly. So I'm checking in on my team. It's also when I'm planning for the next day. Because here's the key. Once you assign a block, you honor it. You don't let someone else's emergency become your interruption. If I were starting today, I'd spend my first 30 days building one system that I could repeat and I'd scale. And here's how I do it. Document your process from first contact to either the signed contract or to whatever you're doing, right? Write it down, even if it's messy. You can't improve what you haven't defined. You create one template, one email, one proposal, one onboarding document, whatever it is for your business. Something you use again and again without reinventing the wheel and have to figure it out on the fly. Using templates on your emails. Very simple things. You start building these things one block at a time to save you time. It might take you a couple more minutes today, but it's going to save you hours and weeks over the lifetime of your career. And then you automate one task. Use a scheduler for your meetings. Set up an email sequence. Automate invoicing. Free up your brain for the work that actually matters. And then, of course, like we talked about before, time block your calendar. Decide what you're working on and when. Protect your deep work. Batch your communication. Stop letting your day run you. Run your calendar. With systems in place, growth stops feeling like chaos and it starts feeling like control. The third non-negotiable is serving one person deeply every single day, really loving into someone. Because here's the mistake. We think success means reaching more people. So we post on every platform. We try to serve everyone. We say yes to every opportunity. And in the process, we connect with no one. Because when you try to speak to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. Jesus understood this, right? He had crowds following him, but he still stopped for the one woman at the well, the blind man on the road, Zacchaeus in a tree, all these different people. He had one conversation, one person, and he gave them 100% of his focus. And that one interaction changed everything over the course of history. If I was starting today, I wouldn't worry about going viral right away. I'd focus on serving one person so well that they couldn't help but tell someone else about it, about the experience, about your systems, about your company, about you. And here's some steps you take to do that. You can DM one client or a potential client every single day, not to sell, but to serve. Just ask them how they're doing. Offer insight. Be a human. Just help out. Number 2, solve one problem without expecting anything in return. Answer a question. Share a resource. Make an introduction. And you can also deliver one piece of value. Maybe it's a tip, a tool, a word of encouragement, something that makes their day better without expecting anything in return. Because it will come back to you threefold, fourfold if you do it from the right heart. When you serve deeply with humility, you build trust. And trust is the foundation of every single great business. So stop chasing the masses right away. Start serving the one that is in front of you and give them 100% of your focus. Now, the fourth non-negotiable is end the day with gratitude. But here's how most of us finish our day, right? We look at everything we didn't get done. We scroll through emails we didn't answer. We beat ourselves up for not being further along. We go to bed anxious. We wake up tired and we repeat it all over again. But that's not sustainable. And it's not what God intended for your life. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, it says, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Not some circumstances, all circumstances. Even the hard days, even the slow days, even the days where nothing went according to plan and it feels like everything's falling apart. Because here's the truth. Gratitude shifts your perspective. When you focus on what's missing, you're always going to feel behind. When you focus on what God has already done for you in your life and in your business, you're going to see how far you've come from where you started, like we talked about before. Think of it like this. If you're constantly measuring your business by what's left undone, you're never going to feel successful. You're never going to be happy, no matter how much you accomplish. But if you measure your day by what God did through you, you'll end every day full instead of empty. Number 2 is what you do is you thank God for the breakthrough. Even if it's small, even if it's just clarity on the next step. Thank God for what you have. So here's what you do. Write down 3 wins from the day. Not 3 big things, Just 3 things that move the needle a little bit: a conversation, a completed task, a lesson learned. Even if you didn't feel like anything went right, I can guarantee you can find 3 wins if you really look for it. End the day like that. Thank God for one breakthrough. Even if it's just small, like I said, even if it's just clarity on the next step. And then you rest without guilt. You're not lazy for sleeping. You're not doing the wrong by spending time with your family. You're not unspiritual for taking a break. God rested on the 7th day. You can rest at the end of yours. And when you end your day with gratitude, you stop grinding and you start growing and you become thankful for what you have. So here's the bottom line. When you build your business God's way, you build a business that lasts. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be faithful on the daily rhythms that align your work with His will. Start with the Word. Build one system. Serve one person deeply. End with gratitude. If you do that, you'll be miles ahead of where you were when I first started. And now if this message hit home with you and you're ready to bring more peace and focus into your business, your next step is simple. Watch the next video on your screen. It's the 3 hidden growth levers that solve every small business pain point. Check it out and let's keep building.